Hello, everyone. My name is Mrs. James, and I'm the lead counselor here at Plano Senior High School. I'd like to talk to our seniors today all about understanding your options for financial aid. As you're entering the last part of your final year of high school, we really want to make sure that you know what options you have to help you cover the costs of college. So we're going to dive right in to discussing what it is that you're going to need in order to pay for college and making sure that you understand the requirements for graduation as it relates to the FAFSA. This is a list of some of the most frequently asked questions when it comes to financial aid. And as we speak here today, we're going to cover each one of these. The first being, how much does college really cost? And then, how can you get help paying for college? A lot of times, our students and families need help even understanding what the types of financial aid are that are available. And then, how will you apply for that financial aid? Everybody wants to know, how do you find and apply for scholarships? So we'll talk about that. And then we will talk about the FAFSA as a graduation requirement. And we're going to end with where you can find more information. So the first thing we're going to look at is, how much does college truly cost? We hear a lot of people talk about college being expensive, but what does that actually mean? When talking about college costs, they're broken down into two categories. One are your direct costs. These are the things that you must pay directly to that college or university, and that's going to be the tuition and fees. That's what pays for your classes, or your room and board if you choose to live on campus. So those are going to be your direct costs. Tuition and fees, that's you paying for the classes, and then if you choose to live on campus, room and board. Indirect costs are going to be things like your personal expenses, transportation to and from school, any books or school supplies that you may need, etc. Those are costs that you will probably incur during the time that you're in college, but you don't always have to pay those directly to the school. Now, the combination of those direct and those indirect costs are going to be called the cost of attendance. So if you Google a certain school and its cost of attendance, know that that's a combination of all of this: the direct costs, tuition fees, room and board, as well as those indirect costs, your personal expenses, etc. So I'm going to give you just some real-time numbers to help you understand what we're talking about when we talk about college costs. So these are actual tuition and fee numbers for 3 schools that our students often attend here from Plano Senior High School. These are the tuition and fees for one full-time semester. And so that a full-time semester, I'm counting that as 5 classes or about 15 credit hours. Collin College is the #1 school that our students attend when they leave Plano Senior High School. It is a traditional community college. Most of the students who go to Collin will commute from home, so they'll live at home, so they don't have any extra room and board expenses. And the tuition and fees for one semester is $1,005. Now, if a student chooses to attend a Texas in-state public university, like the University of North Texas or UNT, this is the #2 school our students attend when they leave Plano Senior High School. So for UNT, the tuition and fees, again, not including any dorm or meals or anything like that, for a semester is $6,154. And then lastly, a private university, and the example that we are going to use is Baylor. That is in Waco, just a little bit south of the Dallas area. The tuition and fees for one semester is $29,050. And again, that does not include the room, the dorm room, or the meal plans for board, etc. So I really wanted to give you guys some real numbers as to how much does college cost a student to attend. So now let's talk about how you can get help paying for college. Apply for financial aid. This is our whole purpose in speaking today, is to talk about how to apply for financial aid. It's free to apply, and you may be able to reduce those numbers that we just talked about considerably. 85% of all students who attend college receive some form of financial aid. And lots of different schools take it. Almost every school that you're going to apply to is going to take financial aid, whether that's a 2-year college, a like community college like Collin, a 4-year college or university like UNT or Baylor, or even a career trade school can accept financial aid as part of your admissions process. So what are the types of financial aid that are available? If I'm interested in applying for financial aid, what could I expect to get? So I want to start by making sure I define what financial aid means so that we are all clear on what this term is talking about. Any money that you receive from outside sources, meaning outside of your family's assets, that helps cover the cost of your college expenses is considered college financial aid. And it generally falls into one of these 4 categories. The financial aid can come in the form of a grant. Grants are monies that are awarded based on your family's income and do not have to be repaid. The most common grant that students receive is called the Pell Grant. The Pell Grant can award upwards of $7,000 a year. That number changes a little bit each year, but it was last at about $7,000 a year for students who qualify. And that number can vary depending on how much you qualify for. And that's just one grant, but that's the most common is the Pell Grant. You may receive a scholarship. Scholarships are awarded based on some type of achievement criteria. It could be your grades, it could be your class rank, GPA, test scores, it could be athletic ability. Maybe you wrote an essay, maybe you play an instrument, some type of achievement that you've done. You could be awarded a scholarship, and this, like a grant, also does not have to be repaid. Now, a loan is when the student or the parent chooses to borrow money, and that will have to be repaid once you are no longer attending school. The most common of the student loans are federal Stafford loans. These are offered to students, and they have very specific amounts that you can borrow so that you don't go too far into student loan debt. It is up to the student to decide whether or not they would like to borrow money to pay for school, and even then, how much they would like to borrow. And the last category of financial aid is work study. This would be where you were offered a part-time job on campus to help with personal expenses. So if you qualify for federal work study, then the school is going to help place you in a job to help pay for your personal expenses. How do I apply for financial aid? You're going to complete the FAFSA. That's what this is all about today, is helping you understand the importance of completing the FAFSA. FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. That first F is free because you do not pay anything to apply for financial aid, nor should you. Anyone that is asking you to pay money in order to access scholarships or financial aid, I want you to look for some other resources because it should always be free for you to apply for your financial aid. Completing the FAFSA can help determine what type of financial aid you qualify for and the amount. Some colleges and universities will require students to have a FAFSA on file in order to receive any financial aid, including scholarships. So I'm going to go back just for a second. And sometimes we'll have students say, well, I know I don't want to borrow any money, take out any loans, and I don't think my family's income will qualify me for grants. So if I just want scholarships, why do I have to do the FAFSA? Should I just apply for those scholarships? You may be in a situation where the school is going to require you to do the FAFSA, even if you're only searching out for scholarships. And then we'll also talk about the graduation requirement around doing the FAFSA. So I encourage every student who's planning to attend any level of school after high school to complete the FAFSA. Now let's talk about how to go about completing the FAFSA. You're going to need several things in order to complete the FAFSA. When you did all of your college applications, when you were applying for admission to the colleges, the student can handle that on their own. They don't necessarily need their parents to do any of the application. But when it comes to applying for financial aid, you are going to need help and input from your parents. You need your social security number for you as a student, as well as for the parent that is going to be the parent contributor on the FAFSA. That parent is going to have access to their income tax information for the last year that they pay taxes, as well as their asset information, their just general family financial information, bank accounts, and that type of thing. You will need to have a list of the schools that you want to send your FAFSA report to, and you can list up to 20 different colleges, universities, or career trade schools that you want to send your FAFSA report to. So any school that you're thinking you are wanting to apply for, go ahead and send them the FAFSA. They're not going to process your financial aid until you're admitted, but it doesn't hurt to send it. And then every student, as well as their parent contributor, is going to need an FSA ID. Now, what is that? The FSA ID is the login that you will have to create in order to access your FAFSA account. It's important that you make use an email address that is not your school email, because you will want to be able to get access to this long after you leave Plano ISD. You want to make it something that you're going to remember. Keep track of that password, because you will log into this account every year that you're in school in order to renew your FAFSA, as well as if you choose to take student loans, you'll log into this account afterwards to pay back your student loans. You as a student are going to need to have an FSA ID, a login, and then at least one of your parents will also need to have an FSA ID, a FAFSA login. Completing the FAFSA, it's going to take about an hour, depending on your situation. And then you're going to get a student aid index report that's going to be sent to your email after it's processed. That may be right away. It may take a couple weeks. It kind of depends on your financial situation, how long that takes, but you will get that. And then that student aid index report will be sent to all of the colleges and universities that you put on the list. From there, they're going to determine how much and which type of financial aid you may qualify for. Now, if you are a student who doesn't have a social security number for whatever reason, there is an option for you if you are going to be attending school here in Texas. You can complete something called the TASFA. And if you're unsure about whether or not that's you and you need some help with how to navigate the TASFA, I recommend you stop by and see your counselor to get more information about that. Now let's talk scholarships for a little bit. Remember that we define scholarships as those financial aid awards that are given based on some kind of merit achievement. Maybe your grades, your test scores, or other achievements. Sometimes a scholarship can also be tied to need. So you may see a scholarship where it says we want students with certain grades and GPA, but we also want them to have demonstrated financial need. And they're going to determine that based on your economic status that you put on the FAFSA. And it could be a combination of both. Scholarships are almost always going to be something you have to apply for separately. So just doing the FAFSA doesn't apply for all of these scholarships, but it can be part of the process of qualifying for the scholarship. So where can you find the scholarship to apply for? We have on our Plano Senior High Counseling website a huge list of scholarships. If you just Google PSHS Counseling and then click on the scholarship link, you're going to find a big database that's full of both local scholarships, and then it also links back to the scholarship and financial aid webpage of all of the schools that our students apply to here at Plano Senior High. If you log into School Links and select Finances, we keep a big list of scholarships there. You can directly visit the financial aid and scholarship page on the website of the colleges you're interested in. Oftentimes, your largest financial aid or scholarships are going to come directly from the schools you're attending. So if you're applying to University of North Texas, for example, go to UNT's website and look to see what scholarships they offer and how to apply. For a lot of schools, simply applying for admission is enough, and then they will consider you for scholarships. For some schools, though, they're going to want you to do separate scholarship applications, and then they're going to want you to have the FAFSA done as well. There's a lot of little steps involved, which is why we're taking the time to talk to you about these things so that you understand what's involved in this process. And then my advice to you is don't overlook those smaller scholarships. They can sometimes go unclaimed and can add up. So maybe a scholarship's only $500 or only $1,000, but those little scholarships can add up, and that may be enough to cover some of your expenses when you're in college. What happens next? So you've done your applications, you've done your FAFSA, you've applied to the scholarships, then what? Each school will send you a financial aid award letter in the spring of your senior year. And that letter is going to include a breakdown of their cost of attendance. Remember how we talked about those direct versus indirect costs? They're going to break those costs down for you. So that's essentially the bill. But then from that bill, they will subtract any scholarships that they award you, any grants that you may qualify for based on that FAFSA, any work study opportunities that they can give you, again, based on your FAFSA. And then the school will offer you student loans if you still have a balance. It is up to you to decide whether to accept or decline those student loan offers. Just because it's on that financial aid award letter does not mean you have to take the loans. But if you do choose to take the loans, you want to do so carefully, really talk to your parents about it, think about what it will look like when you finish school and are ready to start paying back that loan. Think about the career that you're going into versus how much money you may want to borrow to help pay for school. Is it the kind of career where you'll have a salary that can support the student loans or not? Those are all the things to think about if you choose to take student loans as part of your financial aid award. I mentioned this at the very beginning, and now I want to come back and make sure that everyone understands that, yes, FAFSA, completing the FAFSA is a requirement for graduating here in Texas. And for our students who are not able to complete the FAFSA, then if you do the TASFA, that also fulfills that graduation requirement in Texas. You can upload proof of your completion in School Links. It's really easy. You log into School Links, you'll select finances, and then click that college financing, and then click update status, and it'll walk you through exactly how to submit your proof of FAFSA completion. It's usually something just as simple as uploading a screenshot of where it says that it has your name and it says that your FAFSA is all done and submitted. You upload a screenshot of that, and then we are good for graduation. The reason that this is a graduation requirement is because the state of Texas wants to make sure that all of the students are getting the financial aid that they qualify for in order to go to college. So they want everyone to know before they graduate what financial aid they would qualify for. Now, if you really do not want to complete the FAFSA for whatever reason, you can submit what's called an opt-out form. And in that same place in School Links where you would go to upload your proof of completion, you can also go there and it has an opt-out form that you can fill out, or you can just stop by the counseling office and we have some paper opt-out forms. And that's just your way of saying, I am choosing not to complete the FAFSA or the TASFA as part of my graduation. So we have to have one of the things, a FAFSA, which is what most students will do, a TASFA, if that's what you need to do, or an opt-out form completed for all of our seniors in order for you to graduate. I know that this was a lot and we went through it kind of fast. We do have places where you can find more information. Our Plano Senior High School Counseling website has a whole section all about financial aid, as well as a link to that scholarship database that we talked about. Every month, you get a Plano Senior High Counseling newsletter delivered both to your email, and your parents get it to their email as well. So check your emails. You even got a special edition at the beginning of December that was all about financial aid. And we're going to take a look at that in just a moment. If you go to School Links, there's lots of financial aid and scholarship information there, or just come see your school counselor. We are in B243. You can send your counselor an email. You can stop by to schedule a visit, and your counselor can talk about your special situations as you are applying. Your economics teachers are also a resource as you're talking about financial options and loans and all of that. We are here to help you, and we want to make sure that you've got everything that you need. Now, as I just discussed, we're going to take a quick look at that last counseling newsletter that you received from our department. And in the newsletter, it goes over everything that we talked here today about, but in even more detail, with links to take you to descriptions, with some videos that summarize the information. It's got it all. If you want to know about that FAFSA graduation requirement, shows you how to go to School Links to upload it. If once you get your financial aid award letter, you want to know how to read it and how to understand it, there's a video here to help you with that. And then if you're wanting to know how to contact your counselor, we are here as well. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate your attention today and your willingness to listen and be a part of this process so that we can get you the financial aid that you need in order to be successful in college. Have a great day, guys.